Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Growing Orchids in Jamaica. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see how I grow orchids in Jamaica. Now, one of the problems that I have in the area that I live is a problem of moss growing on my plants. And this happens because in the area that I live, the rainfall is very high. And so today I am going to show you how I remove the moss from my plants. And if you want to see how I remove the moss from my plants, just stay tuned right after this intro. This is the area that I have my Oncidium orchids in, and I am just showing you this beautiful one that is actually in bloom right now. However, one of the problems I have in this area is that of moss on top of my medium in my pots. I recently removed the moss from this one, and now here it is putting on a stunning show. This is actually the only one that is blooming in this area right now. However, I have some other ones that are spiking. And so I will show you what I do to remove the moss and the algal growth from my Oncidium plants. I tend to have problems with moss growing on my plants and on top of the plant medium. In order to control it, I use a mixture consisting of 4 tablespoons of dishwashing liquid to 1 gallon of water. And you can basically use just about any dishwashing liquid. Some persons will use Dawn, some persons will use Palmolive, but I actually use Palmolive. I place the mixture in a spray bottle and I spray the moss. I spray it on the moss to ensure that it is actually properly saturated. So I really dose it properly. Now, once you apply this treatment, just ensure that the plant is left in a cool area, as the sun will actually damage the plant roots and the plant, and you do not want that to happen. Believe me, I learned this the hard way, but luckily for me, the plant that was damaged, it actually recovered. Alright, so I leave it for 24 hours. So after the 24 hours, you should actually see the color of the moss changing, and this should be changing into a goldish brownish color. And once you see that happening, this is an indication that the moss is actually dying. I tend to get a lot of moss and algal growth because the actual area that the plants are in, that's my Dendrobium and my Oncidium orchids, they're actually between my house and my neighbor's house. And so the sunlight in that area is, they just actually get sun in the afternoon and not for very long. And especially during this period when it's actually our wet season, they hardly get a chance to dry out in between watering. And this actually helps to foster the moss and algal growth. So I tend to have a lot of this problem, especially this time of the year. But occasionally I do this treatment to help. This is what it looks like 24 hours after the treatment with the dishwashing liquid and the water. If you notice, the color of the moss has changed. It is now sort of goldish, brownish, as I did say earlier, which is indicating that the moss is actually dying. And you would see it here on top of the medium. And sometimes the moss actually grow up on the plant. I still spray the plant because really and truly I want to remove the moss from the plant, because while the moss may not necessarily harm the plant, it robs the plant of the nutrients that it really should be getting, and that is one of my main reasons for getting it away from it. And outside of that, I just think it makes it look very unsightly, so I really don't like seeing it there. While you might have some persons who do not have a problem with moss, because I've seen videos where persons are actually placing moss on their plant medium to help to retain moisture. But because of the area that I live in, I really do not need to do that. And perhaps I have too much moss growing on my plant, so I try to remove it. Now I am going to show you just how I remove it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to moisten the moss. So I use my hose and I spray to add some moisture to it, because what this will do is it will actually soften it. So when you're removing it, it will not cause any damage to your plants. Once I do that, I use a hard bristle toothbrush to help to remove the moss from the medium or from the pot. I will also use a forceps to help to, get rid of some of the moss as well. And because I had used the water initially to soften the moss, it is now much easier to remove using this method. You notice how easy it is now to be removed? Right. So you would have seen how most of the moss are removed. While removing the moss, however, ensure that you are trimming all the dead roots. It's really a meticulous process, and you really need to spend a little time doing it. And it's not very simple, especially because you do not want to damage the roots of the plants. The last segment of my treatment will be using the hose, which is actually pressurized to remove the remainder of the moss. While doing this, just ensure that you are mindful that the water can damage the roots, especially the young shoots, and therefore you have to be mindful and be careful when you're doing this. However, it serves more than one purpose. Apart from removing the excess moss that may remain in areas that you're not able to reach and to get out, it also removes the soap that you have applied. And that is very important because you do not want to leave this on the plant. And what I find works pretty easy for me is the hose and the water. So now most of the moss are removed from the medium. So what I'll do now, I will just add a bit more top medium to this, which will be some gravel and charcoal, and replace it into the area where I keep it. That's how I remove the moss. This is now clean and nice. So I am now going to put some of the charcoal gravel mix on top of this medium. And whatever medium you're using, just ensure that it is clean. And there goes nice. plant, I remove the moss from the top of the medium, and now this is what the plant looks like. So that's how I remove the moss without disturbing the plant, without having to repot it. And this now I could fertilize or add some slow release fertilizer to it to sort of boost it so that it will bloom in a short while. This here is just showing you some that I just remove the moss from and top it up with potting medium, which consists of gravel and charcoal, and then I add a little bit of slow release fertilizer to it. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and so you never miss another video, please subscribe to my channel. And as we say in Jamaica, just follow back on me. This is the Orchid Duck, and I am growing orchids in Manchester, Jamaica.